Okay, this week's Raw was actually quite a doozy. I'll give them credit for that. A decent amount of, in-ring work, decent amount of storyline work, as well as the debut of Brodus Clay. Finally, I think they might have tweaked his character just a tad, but the main focus was primarily Kane. Kane came out, cut another one of his, fairly dark, kind of depressing speeches about how we hate everything and everyone, and we're just hate and full of empty hope. Cena came down, decent little, fight between those two. I'm glad to see Cena actually have to use a crowbar to try to beat Kane. Kane, of course, made a hasty retreat. The match with Sheamus and Santino versus Jinder Mahal and Wade Barrett, not bad, pretty decent match. The match between Kofi Kingston and Daniel Bryan, I actually like that. I like the fact that Daniel Bryan is a pseudo heel, not quite heel. So he's got that weird sort of cowardly thing kind of going, but he still gets done in the ring. So he's showing a lot in the way of charisma, and that's actually a pretty solid match with Bryan getting the win. And the opening contest, the team of Sheamus and Santino won. With Jinder taking the double finishers. They did a little bit with Zack Ryder and Eve. I guess they will eventually go out. But Zack Ryder is constantly being stalked by Kane. So Kane was doing a better job than he did in See No Evil when it came to actually stalking his prey. Pretty solid, I will say. That was a really good job on that. And Eve mentioned she had a match with Beth Phoenix, which didn't happen because Kane music hit, so Eve kind of ran out. Which then led to watching Zack Ryder try to change a car tire because their back tire was flat. Then at the very end, he kind of got laid out by Kane. So Kane, at the same time, while fighting John Cena, is also psychologically terrorizing both John Cena and Zack Ryder. So Kane is making some tremendous headway, all things considered. Punk and Swagger had a match where if Punk were to win, Swagger and Vicky Guerrero would not be at ringside during the Royal Rumble. Overall, pretty solid match. Swagger did a good job keeping his power game at a nice slow pace with Punk behind the faster pace. Really solid match. I can't tell if they blew the finish or not, because you can tell there's that 1, 2, should have gotten the kick out before 3, and then you see Punk automatically go for an Anaconda Vice to get Swagger to tap. But Swagger doesn't quite kick out at 3. And then of course they show it in slow motion to constantly reinforce this idea that Swagger actually kicks out probably at like 2 9/10. So you can tell he's kicking out like as the referee's hand is pretty much down. And they're calling it a blown call. Hard to tell if they're working in an actual story or if it was Swagger actually was a shade off of kicking out. But all in all, really solid match. The Miz is still trying to figure out what to do with R-Truth. So he tried to enlist the help of everybody, pretty much just told no repeatedly. So then he gets a hold of Rodrigo, or Ricardo Rodriguez, Alberto's ring announcer. And he looks at me and goes, "Go ahead, go out there, on delay." Which then goes back to probably one of the funniest moments I've ever heard from Michael Cole. He says, this is why Miz is a future Hall of Famer, because he's bilingual. Ricardo's out there. It's like, R-Truth, your mom has a mustache, you smell. R-Truth came down, with his bizarre, I guess he's still kind of crazy, but he's a face now. Rodriguez to sing La Cucaracha, which made Ricardo do a remix of it. And then he got laid up by Truth, and then Truth got attacked by Miz. Decent, it's a good way to help keep that storyline going. So now we're down a couple things. Brodus Clay made his debut. I thought something was weird when they showed his dressing room door and they showed a disco ball. So Brodus Clay now hails from Planet Funk, and he is the Funkasaurus Brodus Clay. I'm waiting for a while when they'll have CM Punk and then BC Funk. It was different. I'm still trying to figure out why Vince thinks fat guys and large athletes have two gimmicks and only two gimmicks. Either you're an absolute monster or you're some sort of weird, sort of goofy thing. We'll look at Mabel or Viscera or Big Daddy V. Remember when he was the kind of sexual guy and he came out in pajamas and then he became Big Daddy V? Remember Mark Henry's Sexual Chocolate? How about Rikishi? When he, of course, was a dancing happy guy and then he became a villain? And remember when the Big Show copied other wrestlers? Or how about when the Great Khali was a face and he danced? All these people have had the weird sort of goofy gimmick as well as the destroyer gimmick. So now Brodus Clay took on Kurt Hawkins and plowed through him. So probably some of the most bizarre theme music with the Somebody Call My Mama and two funk dancers with him. Different. He seemed to have some fun with it, however, the man's got next to no rhythm. This is coming from a tall white man who has no rhythm. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. Maybe he'll team with Santino Morel to become tag champs. You never know. Okay, Cena and Ziggler had a match. Pretty decent match. Went to a no contest because of Cena running out to try to help Ziggler from being demolished by Kane, which then led to Kane, of course, defeating John Cena outside with the weird face choke thing that he's doing. So now we're down to the Hall of Fame where they introduced two names, or actually one name in a stable. And then Jericho coming down again. The first inductee, Edge. Not Savage. Edge. Okay. Second inductee, Four Horsemen. The Barry Windham Four Horsemen. So again, still no Ole Anderson. And I was looking at it going, so is Flair going to leave TNA to show up to do this? Or will Flair still be working for TNA and then show up for the Hall of Fame, since he is the most prominent member of the Four Horsemen? And I'm on to Jericho. Last week when Jericho made his debut, he really didn't do anything. And there were pretty much a couple people who thought, one, what is he doing? I'm entirely confused. Just kind of what my thoughts were. Two, this is so brilliant, he's an awesome heel. And then three, you know, he was really chewed up, didn't know what to say. Well, out of those three, Vince decided to go with this one. So Jericho came down, still didn't say anything, and then kind of cried and then left. I'd say right now, out of everything that Jericho has done since he came back, the coolest thing he did was the WWE.com exclusive interview. Someone's like, Chris, can I tell you something? I got a question. And he turns his jacket on and then walks off. That's probably one of the best things he has done so far. Up to now, with the re-debut of Kane has made tremendous headway. With Jericho, I don't know. We know he's probably going to turn heel and feud with Punk. But this weird kind of ambiguous sort of thing he's doing, just, I don't know. I really don't know. I think that if Jericho's sticking around for a year, I want to see Jericho Miz, Jericho Punk, probably Jericho Ziggler. But right now Jericho is just kind of, he shows up, the crowd gets excited because it's Jericho and he's awesome. I don't know. So all in all, a really, really solid Raw. You know, this year starting off actually really good. I'm looking forward to the Rumble, which I guess now is 30 man, so it's being 40 being back to 30. And there's no clear front runner for that. Hall of Fame's looking pretty good for WrestleMania. All in all, a really, really solid episode of Raw.